Soul Disconnected podcast, the platform designed to reconnect us, bring us back to a common ground to understand one another. Open about our flaws and failures, focused on growth and positivity. The flame in the dark that burns in our soul. Check. Yeah. This is Soul Disconnected Podcast. I'm when Tony writes with special guests today. This is episode 15. Society is Porn with J.Hurt.
Yo, what's good?
J.Hurt finally in the building. We finally get to meet.
Yeah, man, it's just crazy because I feel like we already met. Like we've following and corresponding with each other for like probably 10 years now, man.
For real, bro. And that's crazy that we literally low-key just introduced each other to ourselves and shit. Like, we just met, and it's like, I've been following this dude, like he said, like 10 years, and likewise, and we just always shared ideas and gone back and forth with each other. Yeah. And man, I've been a strong supporter of you throughout the years, and I'm grateful that you made it up here, man.
Yeah, man, no doubt. I really appreciate you having me, bro. I had to make it up
I feel like, you know, you have to be heard. And that's why, like, the most important thing about what I'm doing here and creating this is to get the people that I feel like need to be heard. Because everyone's voice is important, but I feel like people that are actually doing more than just basic, and they're just trying to get people to pay attention more and to just see, and you're looking out for people, and I feel like that's what you're out here doing, and that's what your mission is, and you're just doing you. Yeah. And part of what you're doing is looking out for others, and I feel like your voice needs to definitely be heard.
Yeah, definitely, bro. That's a really dope platform that you created. You know what I mean? That's the platform that we all need for the future, is to inspire everybody's thought. You know what I mean?
Real. And
it's the only way we're going to get forward, because the old way ain't working. As Tupac said.
Things change, you know, and we got to change with it, and we can't be stuck in old ways, and we can't let, you know, the bad hands that we're dealt make us bitter. You know, we got to get better, and we got to try to move forward and push the culture forward and push people forward and prepare for the future, because we're not going to be here in the future, but our kids are, and their generation is. So if we're not making those steps to try to help, then we're kind of just hurting ourselves.
Exactly.
So how long you been doing music for, bro?
I've been writing probably since like on and off. I've been writing ever since I was like 8 years old.
Nice.
But as far as recording music, I think I started probably like more or less 10 years ago.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. That sounds around the same time as I started too.
Yeah, man.
We all kind of blew up around the same time, man. That's crazy. Where are you originally from, bro?
I grew up in Pasadena, basically. I moved to Pasadena when I was like 4 years old. Mm-hmm. But I'm Southern California.
You're all over the place. Like you said,
I lived out in the 9 for a little bit. Lived in Vegas for a little bit. That's not Southern California, but that was brief. But
like you moved around, though. Yeah,
like my grandparents lived in Rialto, and then they moved to San Bernardino, and I was there for a couple months, and then I came back out here with my mom, and so
you know what's crazy? It's like, it's funny because I feel like I can relate to you so much, and it's just like, because I've moved around a lot my whole life too, it's like you kind of get a feel for everywhere you go, and the vibe and the people and the culture's different everywhere you go, and you kind of get integrated. And I just feel like I vibe with all people because I moved everywhere, different locations, different areas, different cultures, different backgrounds, and it's like you start to click with the world a little better. It feels like, you know?
I definitely say that's the same type of trajectory that my life has been on. Like it's even like just growing up in Pasadena is such a melting pot, because I'm like from the Northwest Pasadena, Altadena area, West Altadena area, where it's like predominantly Black and Hispanic. You know what I mean? But when you think Pasadena, you think Rose Parade, and you think all those Caucasian faces that you see on TV. And that's not even the part that I'm accustomed to, but I was exposed to that part, you know what I mean, in ways. So it's like just coming from a melting pot like that, then living in L.A., downtown L.A. at that for 10 years now at this point, and just being exposed to all those cultures. Going to school, I went to UCLA, and going to that from an inner city school that was one of the worst performing schools in California, to going to that school and then seeing what I saw there, it's like I've definitely been exposed to so many different types of cultures where it's like it's crazy. Life's a crazy journey.
Yeah, for sure it is. Well, how was that? Like when you went to school, like was it really hard to adjust to the environment you were in when you went to college?
I think that I fell more into like a rebel complex, like
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, where it was kind of like I had always felt like I didn't fit in where I was from for a certain type of ways. One, being mixed,
Mm-hmm.
black and Filipino, like there wasn't many Filipinos there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I looked different, so people treated me different. But then I grew up with a single black mom, so it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like these are my people. Why are they looking at me different? Especially when
Mm-hmm.
I'm younger. Now it's different. Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like people respect me more as a black man now.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, as a kid, it was just kind of like going through that. I felt like a black sheep, and then leaving that situation and going to UCLA, it's like yeah, you're still a black sheep, but you're more of a black sheep because now you're surrounded by like all these rich folk and all these people from other countries
Mm-hmm.
and all this and I wasn't somebody. I wasn't living at a dorm. Like I said, like
Mm-hmm.
I lived in a studio apartment in downtown throughout college, and uh, so I didn't really get to indoctrinate myself in the
Mm-hmm.
college lifestyle. So
Mm-hmm.
I was an outsider coming in.
Yeah, yeah.
So that just kind of fed into that whole outsider rebel syndrome even more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like I was just soaking it all up, just like in when I was a kid, like just kind of taking it all in, like just observing. You know what I mean? Like I feel like when you're a rebel or a black sheep, but you're a thinker, you really get to soak in what's going on around you. You know what I mean? You dibble and dabble and you experience certain types of things, but you're never fully indoctrinated into
Mm-hmm.
one. Like I was never a frat guy or never, you know what I mean, this or that. I was never somebody that I was just somebody that I interacted with who I interacted with, you
Exactly.
know what I mean? Whether it was whatever.
Uh-huh.
So it gave me even a more broad perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And it was crazy because it was a while back when we started touching bases again. When you had posted something about it's been a while, like or the time frame since you
Oh
had
yeah,
completed school, and I was
yeah.
like, bro, I'm proud of you, and I look up to you for doing that, and you kind of like stopped me there, like, hey, bro, don't even trip, like it ain't even about the
Yeah.
education, and it ain't about all that. Like I don't remember the exact words you told me, but you're like it's all about experience and just living your life. Like the education don't make who you are and shit like that, and you
Yeah,
can't.
no, definitely not.
And it was crazy because I was just like, dude, that's a big accomplishment in one aspect, but at the same time too, seen from your perspective, and you were hands on, you were boots on the ground in that realm, and it's like you realize what it's all for.
Yeah.
And that piece of paper to pay for more paper, and then you got more and more in debt and everything else like that comes with it. That it's a crazy cycle, but I feel like in my point of view, because maybe I'm from the outside looking in, I feel like education is important to an
Extremely important.
extent,
Yeah.
and what you're educating yourself with and the
Yeah.
knowledge you're soaking in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think that I mean the only way you're truly educating yourself is like the only way you're retaining the knowledge is if it's accompanied with experience and
Mhm.
also teaching others. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I think that's like the number one way to retain information is once you learn it to try to teach somebody else.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And then the experience factor, it makes it real. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can learn something and then it can just be in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just feel like my life has been like more of a teaching, more of a learning experience than just that screenshot in time. If anything, I was so focused on other things I probably didn't take advantage of the opportunity as much as I should have. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I definitely got a lot out of it within the context of what my life is about. You know what I mean? Within the context of understanding people and uh and getting to expose myself to other ways of thinking. Like when you're in college, especially a college like that, and then you have these professors, you might have one professor that thinks one way and then another professor that thinks another type of way. Because one thing about UCLA is a lot of those professors that's not their main thing. They're really authors or different. They're involved in all kinds of stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that's just something that's their regular
Yeah,
thing.
that's their side. That's like their side thing. They're like
Yeah.
they're professionals,
Yeah.
and then they also teach. So it's like it's a trip.
So like me, that post that you're referring to, I think I had brought up how I had a class with somebody named Reverend Lawson, who was actually a speechwriter in the civil rights movement. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
so
it's exactly what it
like
was.
that's like that was more of an experience for me than even like just the books, the textbooks and the things. And that's the crazy thing about that school too, is that a lot of the books that you're buying are books that they wrote themselves. Like, you gotta buy this book for my class, and I wrote this book. But regardless, man.
Damn,
like,
talking about royalties,
bro, insane. But I appreciate that experience. A lot of debt came with it, but you know what I mean, I appreciate it 100% because it helped me put certain ways that I thought or certain things that I seen growing up into an even broader perspective. And it also allowed me to think about how other people look at it. Because I think in life, it's easy to get used to what I call information boxes. Like, you could trap yourself in a box where you only watch certain channels, you only go to certain sites, you only hang out around certain type of people, which means you're limiting your perspective or your understanding, your empathy. And that's it's easy to divide people that are in boxes.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But then if you're somebody that's so like thinking about why does somebody else think this way, or I know that there's other ways of thinking, I know that that everybody's a certain way for a reason. And then once you break out of that box, it's like you just see the whole world from like a whole different perspective. And it's just kind of like, that's what my music and what my journey with that is. It's just to get people to think. It's not even that I want people to think a certain type of way. And I just want people to break out their boxes.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I really like about you, and I appreciate you for, because a lot of people are afraid of what other people are gonna think. A lot of people have an agenda that they want to follow a wave or a trend because they feel like they want to be accepted in a way where they can like catapult to the top and not worry about just hitting a certain plateau or reaching a certain amount of of the masses. But it's dope because you need people that are gonna be straight to the point and tell you what it is. Most of the time people are telling us what we want to hear, and we really don't need that. We need to know like what's really going on. And that's, it's funny that you mentioned that, because there's times where I've corrected people because I sympathize and I'm empathetic towards like all walks of life. And when I hear people trying to just bash one set of people or another group or a certain group, I usually have to speak up and stop them before they get ahead of themselves. Because for one, there's people of all walks that that could fit the description of anything. And that's why I get upset when people try to single out groups, or it's like, no, there's all types of people with different types of background or different types of issues. You cannot single out any one person or any one group. You know what I mean? And I feel like even in today's society, we deal with that a lot. You know what I mean? A lot of people are still on that bullshit.
I feel like, well, when I speak to older people, they say that like people that have been through all kinds of things, segregation and all kinds of things, they say like ideologically and also like the way people are, this is the most divided time that they've ever seen in their life. Wow. Because like now it's like, if you're not one way, you're the enemy. If you're not thinking one way, if you're even open to thinking one way, you're the enemy. You're evil. You know what I mean? Like if you know what I'm saying? Like with the whole like Donald Trump and all these things, like now it's just kind of like you're either with us or with them.
Yeah, you can't even have conversation anymore.
Yeah, but you can't look at it that way, because if you treat things with that mindset, it's only going to get more divided. And the people that benefit off of things being divided, it isn't the average person. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Man, division is profitable, but it's not profitable for us. You know what I mean?
You know, what triggered you to start wanting to speak out more? Like, and while your music's always had more than what meets the eye and more than what the normal is, like what's always been something that pushed you to push your music forward and be deeper for thought? Like, what always made you like want to create that style of music?
Well, I think that growing up, like I liked the way that music sounded and the way certain songs made me feel. But then uh, I came across Tupac All Eyes on Me album, and then like as a kid, I'm used to like radio versions, you know what I mean? And then I just put in All Eyes on Me, and it's like the most explicit, like you know what I mean? Like he was fresh out of jail, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fresh out of jail, mad at the world, almost got murdered, and that energy, you know what I mean? And then at first, initially, it's like you're taking in that energy, like yo, this is he's so angry, and then you start realizing he's really saying something, and then it starts. It triggered something for me. I don't know what it was. It just triggered something for me that like it resonated with me in a way that other hip hop that I had listened to at that time, like around that time, he had been long gone. It was like 2001 or 2002 when I came across the album in my mom's room. And that's like the Ja Rule era. You know what I mean? It was a good era. No disrespect to none of that. Like Ja Rule, Fat Joe, like kind of like an R&B, like good vibe type. You know what I mean? Hip hop era, which I love that era. And then it was this Tupac, and it was like it resonated with me. It seemed more like long lasting of an effect on me than that other music. The other music was like feel good in the moment, and then this is something that's got me thinking about like the whole world and life, you know? And then I'm a kid, so it's like it's a crazy way for an album to affect a kid. And around the same time, my uncle had gotten murdered, and my mom had like gotten a box of some of his belongings, and then uh, it was a Tupac album in there, and then he also had like these papers or whatever, and he just talked about how like Tupac had like resonated with him. You know what I mean? And it just intrigued me. It made me dive even more deeper into like trying to understand or thinking a certain type of way or looking at the world a certain type of way, like of questioning things, questioning the system. And so to get back to the point, that's why I rap the way I rap, is because that's what really got me into hip hop. I liked music in general.
Yeah.
But what really got me into hip hop was because people are saying something that is powerful. Saying something powerful is why I really got into it. I like all music. I like feeling good or whatever, but what's really inspiring to me is saying something, like saying something in that form, you know?
And just not only that, but having a voice for the voiceless.
Yeah.
Being that voice that people could turn to and they know that you can get a point across and that you're reaching out to the people that they can't reach out to.
Yeah.
Now that's definitely dope, bro. That's crazy, because it's like I feel like when I listen to your music, I get educated. You know what I mean? And it inspires me to get better. Like, and that's the kind of, because that's the kind of music I like to listen to. Like, if I feel like bro, like I need to go to work. I need to like get better. I need to work on my craft. It inspires me to want to work and to think more and to change my perspective on certain things and to want to do better. You know what I mean? And that's what I like. I like having like getting a challenge. And out of your music, I feel like I get challenged to challenge with my spirit, my soul, my mind, like, and I like that. I like that feel good music, and that music is music for the soul. It's soul food, and it's like it's intellectual property, bro. That shit helps boost your mind. You know what I mean? And it's good.
That means a lot, bro. That means a lot.
Being that you grew up mixed and that you kind of feel like a black sheep as part of your youth life. What was it like growing up as a child? You know, out in Southern California. Was it any hardship for you being different, or were you okay? Like, were you accepted in the community you were raised in?
I'd say like amongst the kids, I didn't really feel accepted. For one, it was like the part of Pasadena I'm from. It's like everybody knows everybody. Like everybody was like family in a way. Everybody, their parents grew up together. It was kind of like this, and then like my mom had just like kind of just moved in there. You know what I mean? And then it's me, my older autistic brother that didn't speak, and her. So I didn't even have like a lot of people would have like an older sibling that would kind of like be able to indoctrinate them into things or help them understand social life or whatever, or even like a father figure or things like that. So then me, it's just like I'm just winging it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm winging it in this place. I look different, and my situation is very different from anybody else that I know around me. So I think it was part knowing that I was different, and then also for some reason just people who just like treated you different, like whether they tried to like be mean or different types of things. One other thing that like I got a lot of pushback for was because my mom was always somebody that no matter how much we struggled ourselves financially or whatever, she was big on education, big on understanding the world around you, big on understanding politics and being socially conscious. And that was like frowned upon growing up. It was like, oh, Julian, the guy that reads books and stuff. Like I wouldn't even have books, but just because like I just because I was I would carry myself or a certain type of way or speak a certain type of way or be interested or do well in school, people would be like, oh, he's this. Like it was just like I just got so much pushback from the people around me, and it was hard at times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like I thought something was wrong with me. And then the older I got some braces on, so my teeth, I had messed up teeth, which made it even worse. So like my teeth got straighter, and I got a little more confident in myself. Where it was like people would still be kind of hating, but then it became like there's nothing wrong with me. People are just me.
Yeah,
you know what I
a
mean?
trip. It's
so
a
then
trip, bro.
yeah, so then I feel like in my life it went from a phase of like questioning a long phase of childhood of not feeling good enough and questioning myself and not liking myself to a point where it was like I'm fine, like everybody else is the problem. To where like not where I'm at now is like I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm not raging against people. I know it's bigger, so it's more so like now things are coming full circle where it's like the same people that I felt rejected by, they might still reject me in certain types of ways, but I know it's not real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like now it's like I do what I do for them.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like I feel like, especially when I listen to my older music, it was very much like they're against me. Like even though I was still political, it was just kind of like people, you know what I mean? I was angry in that way. And now it's like more like a sense of purpose where it's like, all right, at first I was hating myself, then I hated them. Now it's all love.
Yeah,
you feel
yeah.
me?
Yeah, you know what? That's funny though, because I can relate to that. Because I always used to feel like I had like a lot of homies be like, "Man, you're a schoolboy," and it's like, "What do you mean? Why? Because I actually bring a backpack to school? Because I actually bring paper and pencils? You know, the dudes that walk around with a pen on their ear and that's it. They ask you for paper in class. You know, that's the kind of crowd I used to kick it with. But they would give me a hard time about that shit. And then I think like, bro, it's just like it's simple. School is simple. You just had to apply yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all you did. All you had to do is show up to class, you pass.
Yeah.
But I get it. You know, I understand. We grow up, everyone grows up different and their views on things are different. And it's funny. I used to hate that though. I used to feel like, what am I doing wrong? Yeah. But then as I get older, I realize like, I'm just an intellectual and I'm a creative. Like I love to create stuff. I love to keep my mind, like I have to keep trying different things and reinventing and try challenging myself. I feel like if I don't, I feel like I'm gonna get stagnant and go nowhere.
Yeah, definitely.
What would you say is some of your biggest fears?
I don't know. I'd say it's like different because sometimes there's certain things that I fear one day and then I don't fear it the next day and then they'll come back. So what do I fear? I don't know. I guess I kind of fear that we can't change the world. Like I think we can, or I think we should try to, but I fear that like the world is actually way worse than we know. Even though we are like, I feel like the world in general, like we feel like it's like a messed up world, but like I guess maybe I fear that it's more messed up in a way that's like that we couldn't even comprehend, and that like maybe that like it's just purposeless. You know what I mean? But that's not like a fear that I like feed into. I'd say like that definitely probably would be my biggest fear if like I think about like those moments where you really get in your head. You know what I mean? But it doesn't happen that often. But yeah, I fear that things are just beyond what we can control as individuals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we have no choice but to be like sheep and puppets. Even if we think we're not, we are. You know what I mean? Which is true in certain ways, but the extent of it, that's what I worry about. Yeah. Like, am I just like chasing my own tail by trying to be different?
Yeah. That's crazy that you put into perspective that way, because no one's ever answered with that kind of answer crazy. Before. And for real though, and that shit. Now that you mention it, it makes sense, you know. And some people, you know, the thing is some people don't even like to think like that because they're scared to go down that rabbit hole. But I feel like it's like when people say ignorance is bliss and to know is pain, because it's like the more you know, the more it's like, in a sense, it's low-key depressing, but it gives you more self-awareness and you're more aware of what's going on in the world. Yeah. And when you understand that, you realize, like, shit, it's much bigger than... Some people are just worried from today to tomorrow. They ain't looking at the whole thing of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think some people, like for me, definitely, like going down rabbit holes was definitely more dangerous for me in my early 20s and late teens than it is now. I feel like I'm more like emotionally equipped to go down certain rabbit holes, whereas like before it would really send me into a deep anxiety, you know what I mean? Like where it would be like, now I'm like debunking things, like trying not to think a certain type of way, you know what I mean? Like trying to lie to myself about certain things, or not even lie to myself, but you know, I don't know how to describe it. I wouldn't say lie to myself, but now it's like I could go down certain rabbit holes, and then I could go down a lot of different scenarios of how things can be, but then just kind of accept the moment. Because, like, regardless of what everything turns out to actually be, like, there's things that I love in this moment, and there are things that bring me joy in this moment. So it's like, if I get too down the rabbit hole where it's, like, consuming me, like, I could just go back to just experience the moment, but I don't need to reject that. Ultimately, it could be this. You know what I mean? I don't need to. Like I said, some days are worse than others when it comes to that. Today, I'm not really that worried about it. But maybe like a few weeks ago, I might have had a moment where I was just like, fuck, like, I can't. Man.
I feel you on that, bro. There's some days that I'd be lost. Do you have any insecurities at all?
That's another thing where I just feel like certain days I'm more like yes, and then certain days like no. Like some days like I might care about what somebody thinks about me or things like that, and then some days it's just like that doesn't matter. I think ultimately when I really reason it through, I don't have insecurities. But if I get too like emotional where I'm not thinking logically and not reasoning through things, there are things that I'm insecure about.
Yeah.
But
I feel
that could be anything.
I feel like you're in my head right now. You're answering all the questions. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
You know, sometimes, bro, it's like things are going back and forth like a ping pong in your head, and it's like I feel like I'm in my head 24/7, and I'm sure you're the same way, because the shit you're saying is like, it's ways, the way you're describing it is ways that I couldn't put to words. That's all. I'm just like, bro, I feel like you're in my head right now.
It's like,
I don't know. I don't think some people can understand. Like, I know some people are in their head a lot, but I feel like more or less maybe because we've been through some shit, or we know some shit, or we're just creative people, are just always trying to know more or something, that this is just what's gonna happen to us. I don't know. I don't have an answer for it.
Yeah, I don't know. Especially since like I've never been in anybody else's mind to know like why they think a certain. Because like it's easy to say like people aren't thinking or people aren't doing this, but I don't really know what this person's experience or why they are. You know what I mean? Or maybe they are thinking the same way as me, or a similar way as me, but they don't articulate it the same way. Or maybe I'm not articulating myself well enough to resonate with others, but if I could, then they would get it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's crazy. Life's weird.
It is. What was the first song you ever wrote? Can you recall that?
I don't remember the first. Well,
our project, if you remember.
I know the first song that I recorded. I don't know if it's the first song I recorded. I remember I recorded the first song that I put out on MySpace. It was only out for like a day. It was called Love I Lack.
Nice.
I was 17, I think. It was recorded like not even on a mic, like just recorded into like the computer. Like I had a little mic built in next to the. Was there even webcams back? Yeah, it was a little webcam on there, recorded into there with my boy Elijah James. It was called Love I Lack. No, I don't even think I recorded it with him. I just recorded it on a laptop at home into the thing on Fruity Loops, and yeah, that's the first one I remember recording. That was like, I don't know.
That's a trip. You ever listen to your old stuff?
I don't have that song. I was just talking to Elijah about that, like wishing we could find that song. I do listen to some old stuff from time to time. I had found some stuff that I have private on my YouTube that I didn't think I had it anywhere. But then I realized like I had uploaded on YouTube 10 years ago and then put it on private, but it was still there. And I was listening to it. Yeah, it was me rapping over the Dead President's instrumental.
Oh, shit.
I was rapping over. Nah, you can't hear it. It was like the lyrics were there, but the energy and the cadence and all that wasn't there yet. But I was rapping over Dead Presidents, Barry Bonds, the Kanye. I was rapping over a Cool Kids beat. You remember the Cool Kids? I was rapping on some other stuff too. I can't remember at this moment, but the bars were there, but it just wasn't the delivery.
You're
like
still
the way
developing yourself.
Yeah. Even the first couple projects that I put out, I felt like I was still developing myself. Like I was just throwing it out there, seeing how people reacted, and yeah.
I listen to some of my old shit and I just be like, I'll be embarrassed sometimes. Like, but it's like part of the growth though. Like, without that, you wouldn't have your sound now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that goes back to what I'm saying about insecurities. Like, it's like you could look at it from one way, like it's growth, like it shows where I came from or whatever, and you could still see that certain talent was there, or you could think of it like, oh, it's so bad, like I don't want to show nobody, like I don't ever want to hear it again. You know, you see what I'm saying? Like sometimes you might feel one way, and then sometimes when you reason it through, it's like it's fine.
It's a trip how every day you don't know what the mood's gonna be. Yeah. You could wake up and be like, this is gonna be a good day. I try to have more good talks with myself than bad, but it's a trip. Every day's different. And you don't know what your mind's gonna be on the next day. Yeah. And it's crazy, like you said, it just goes to show like you don't know. You never know the outcome. To this date, how many projects have you recorded? Being mixtapes, EPs, or full-length albums?
Let's see. More or less 10, like around 10, I think. Yeah.
Which one would you say is preferably some of your best work or your favorite that you've personally got to work
on? Probably the Between Heaven and Benjamin's project, because it was like being independent. Like sometimes like the recording situation, or not even the recording situation, the engineering situation, or certain things, it could be inconsistent because people may be going through things where it's like the process isn't smooth, where it's like I'm not going in it's not like a structure of how you're getting it done. You're just trying to get it done somehow, some way. You know what I mean? And every project was that way, except for Between Heaven and Benjamin's, and then the project after that. It was like the recording situation was consistent, who was engineering it was consistent, and what days I went in to record it were consistent, and my process was consistent. Like I'm gonna do 3 songs this week, 3 songs this week, 3 songs this week, and I know that I want something to fit into this slot, to be about this or on this topic, and then I want to put this skit here and this skit here. It was very structured and it was consistent to the point where a problem with me is that my inspiration or my idea will change over time if I don't just do it. You know what I mean? Like it'll evolve into like I want to do it this way, but if it drags out, then it's like it's slowly morphing into something else. With Between Heaven and Benjamin's, and then the project after that got on like ugly. It wasn't much time for it to morph. It was just like, just get it done, get it done, get it done, get it done, put it out. You know what I mean? So So it was like it just feels complete when I listen to it. Everything just kind of goes together. But I feel like it goes together and it's so complete in a way where it completely goes above people's heads because it was so like crafted out. Like it's like I don't think. Hopefully, it's something that like ages well, or maybe if it didn't get the recognition I wanted it to get at the time, or even now, like at some point it will. I feel like it's one of those projects where it's like it could just resurface 15 years from now, and
I
people
feel
be
like
like,
your
"Yo,
music,
what?"
bro, is very timeless. And I
I
feel like
appreciate
now that
that.
you're saying that, I'm like, you should just go on a promo run and push those projects still.
Yeah,
And
but
tour with those projects.
yeah,
And
but that's
keep
my problem is that my inspiration is
it's
so
so
like
changing, forever
yeah,
changing.
forever changing and forever like I'm just so driven by the creativity and my way of thinking that it's hard to stay in a moment. You know what I mean? And I think that's like a benefit that a lot of artists get is if if I was a singer, I always wish that I could sing so I could just make like feel good love songs and things like that. It's like that is something where it's like your perspective on life ain't gonna really change too much to where you can't sing those songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could tour off of those songs for forever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then like between Heaven and Benjamin's, it came at a time where I was like at a conflict like of trying to figure out like what is more important. Not even what is more important, but like in this life, I might want things to be all good, or maybe I might need to submit to the fact that we need money and that you know what I mean? Like that was especially that project and God Don't Like Ugly and even the project before that, Lost My Soul in Pasadena, it was a time where I felt really lost and trying to reason out like which direction, which path am I gonna go? Am I gonna feed into one way or am I gonna stay true in one way? So then it was like I lost my soul, like I'm lost, like I'm losing myself. And then between Heaven and Benjamin's, I'm asking questions. And then God Don't Like Ugly. It's like I'm still asking questions, but I'm starting to like kind of like come back around in a way. Not even come back around. I wouldn't say come back around, but it was like a continuation of Between Heaven and Benjamin's. Whereas like now with Society is Porn, it's kind of like I found my way and chose my way, and I didn't give into uh, the material shit. Uh, so it's kind of like now for me to be promoting that old way of thinking. It's like I think certain people could benefit from it, but that's just not where I'm at. Like now I'm in like I have more of an overstanding and I've accepted a certain way of thinking a little bit more. So it's like it's hard to, you know what I mean, to promote the old stuff because I'm growing. My music, not even my music, the music and the bars, like they're gonna always be there, but the content is evolving
And
with
who
my
you are as a
character and who I
person
am as a
too.
person,
Yeah.
and my morals and what I'm going through. Like around that time, I was partying and out and experienced a lot of things. Like it songs like stripper songs on there, like all kinds. I was doing a lot of different types of things that I'm not doing anymore. You know what I mean? And
you
it's
just don't feel irrelevant to
yeah. Even like I'll like play my girl like certain songs from that era, and then it's like almost like offensive to her, like certain things or certain experiences. But it was just like as an artist, I understand.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, and she understands
Yeah.
too, but then it's just kind of like you're at where you are now, so it's kind of like, yeah, I get it, you're an artist, but at the same time, it's like you're in a whole different place now. Like I definitely was more like just I was just more angry and just even there was like a little bit of like I wouldn't say misogyny, but just kind of like me going back and forth between like understanding certain types of things and then also being critical of it, whereas like now it's just kind of like we're all lost, but at least like we should try to think and you know what I mean, that's where Society is Porn and all that is like Society is Porn, we're all desensitized, but you know what I mean, we got to try
You know the bars on that shit is so crazy, bro, and just the way you structure it, your vocal presence, the way you break down everything, it's just like you execute very well, bro.
I appreciate
That shit,
it.
the talent is undeniable, that's for sure.
I
But
appreciate
your
it.
execution on your delivery and your vocal performance and the way you project your sound and your voice is solid, bro. Like all the way through and through. And I feel like that's important. If people could hear what you're saying, and now it's just getting the people to fully listen and absorb and soak in that, and the imagery and the sounds are definitely there, bro. That's without a doubt. You don't gotta worry about that. And that's a great song, and I'm looking forward to the project for sure. And
I appreciate
just everything that you've done up to this point is just know it doesn't go unnoticed and it's not overlooked.
Yeah.
And there's things that I fucking had to like start coming to grips with myself and not being so. It was like I started to implode mentally and spiritually with everything, because I feel like throughout the years of like having a background in radio and then doing music over the years, like I started to feel like, damn, is anybody listening? Like, what am I, like, we were having this conversation off air, like I would get in that rabbit hole and think like, what am I doing wrong? Did I miss opportunities? Did I not go as hard? And sometimes my wife's like, you gotta like take your work ethic and then double it. And keep pushing, and you gotta take whatever shows you gotta do. You gotta keep promoting. You gotta keep working on stuff, and the stuff you have, push that, perform that while you're working on other stuff. And it's like, it's little things that I started learning. Like I can't worry about then. I can't worry about 5-10 years ago, or when I feel like I had a buzz. You have to focus on now. And realize that you do have a following, and you do have people that are rooting for you and that are gonna rock with you, like your core people. And all you gotta do is just keep doing you. You know what I mean?
And then things are gonna work out how they're supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just something I had to learn to understand. And it was like, it took a lot of like soul searching, like especially when I left radio. I felt like I fell off the face of the earth, and I was like, where do I do now? Like I didn't put a project out. I think I left radio like in 2018, and I haven't had like a recent release. I didn't release something till like the end of 2017 or the end of 2016. And I was just thinking like, damn, like where do I go from here? Like, I felt like I was just trying to scratch the surface, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I was in my head. I wasn't creating anything, and I just feel like, you know what? I got to just let it come to me. Keep trying to educate myself and keep my spirit lifted, and I'll get back to it. You know what I mean? But you just cannot get too far into, like you said, like you gotta kind of step away from that. Being an artist, it kind of pulls you into feeling like, damn, like what will be the next thing to make me pop, or what will be, what do I need? Like you gotta just keep creating and just understand that you are putting stuff out there that's going to be in history. Like you are, like everything that you release is going into the cloud, whether it's physical or just on the device or onto the internet or a cloud. You are putting pieces of history out there that will be a part of it. And the only thing you can do is just keep circulating it and just keep reinventing yourself, recreating yourself, and keep creating content and release it. And all you can do is just push it and have the people that really support you push it and believe in it. It's just like this. Like I tell people all the time, like I used to get, like when I have merch and shit, like I used to feel a type of way about pushing it. Like, man, I don't want to be asking for that. I feel like it's too much. I don't want to be asking for that. But it's like, if you believe in your product and your content, then you can sell it. And don't feel any type of way about doing that, because if that's where you feel like your heart is and which you feel as an artist, like it's kind of hard to put a price on art. Straight up, it's hard to put a price on your product or your content. But once you establish that and you believe in it, people will believe in you. And that's what I started having to come to grips, is like, be stern when I make certain adjustments, or when I come at people with something. I have to be stern and be set on something and be like, this is what I want, and be set on what you believe in, and then people will then follow suit. And it took me like 10 years to start realizing this. It took me to become a grown-ass man to start, I'm not trying to get too far off to the side, but I'm just like, now that like we're talking, it's coming in perspective. But it took me to like, and I tell people like,
you mean like for example, like you mean like with merchandise, like you would feel like you were overcharging or something?
No, I felt like any price, I'd be like, damn, I would question myself, like, will they even pay this? Or will they even like, You know, and then I started realizing like, nah, like set your price and be like, bro, this is like my time and effort and dedication.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you I'm gonna give you a product that's undeniable. And I put a lot of money into this.
Yeah.
I put a lot of time into this, and you're gonna get what you deserve, and you're gonna get like you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I'm also getting what I'm deserved too. And we're meeting in the middle.
Yeah.
And you can't feel like you can't feel any way about it, and then it's just like that. Like
Yeah.
that's the hardest part, because salesmen could just sell you some shit and just be like,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
bro,
For
you
some people,
need this, you
yeah.
totally need this, because if
some-
you don't have this, something's gonna happen to you. You know what I mean?
like for some people, it definitely comes easier than for
real,
others. Like
yeah.
for me, last year I was doing like these shirts after I put out one of these projects, and then it was costing like, because one side was embroidered and the other side was pressed, so it cost a little bit more. So it was costing like $27 per unit, $28 per unit, and then I felt bad charging people $35 for the shirt. I felt bad. Why do I feel bad? Why? But I think it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Trust me, 100%, bro.
Because a lot of people don't feel bad.
Way. Exactly. That's like, but that's what makes us different than other people.
Yeah.
Like, shit like that will make me feel so bad, and then I just started realizing, like, hey, Anthony, like, wake up, bro. Like, if you want to make this a sustainable way of living, you have to understand what are your margins on your budget, like what's really your budget, and how much of a profit are you really trying to make. You're not trying to like go crazy and force people to be paying some shit that they can't afford.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, you have to realize like there's a price to what you create, and there's a price behind your art and all the effort, dedication, the ideas, the time that people don't see, the after hour work that you're doing. You know, you got a job, you got people you're looking after, you're still pursuing this, and then you're creating. It's like that's the most important thing, is that people realize that they're getting your hard work at a price that you really can't set a price on.
Yeah.
But it has to be fair to you and fair to your consumer.
Yeah.
And if you can make a profit and still help them save money, then great.
Yeah.
If you can make a profit and get what you deserve, that's even better.
Yeah. There's trade-offs to everything.
Yeah.
Because let's say like you super overcharged it. Like just willingly, like just charge like freaking, if I charge like $300 for a t-shirt, you're gonna sell less t-shirts. But maybe you will sell a few of those, you know what I mean? And then it's kind of like, you know what I mean, you might make more money, but then you're gonna sell less t-shirts. You know what I mean? So like I feel like it's trade-offs to everything, but certain things are not fair exchanges. If you're putting more out than you're getting back, that's not a fair exchange. You know what I mean? If you're making a t-shirt for a certain amount and then you're just giving it out for free, and then like there's no, like maybe your plan is to give it out for free for a little bit so then you can start selling it. But if you're just like selling yourself short, that's not a fair exchange, and eventually you might get resentful. You might even change the integrity of your art. You know what I mean? It might change you as a person, because now it's like, I'm doing all of this and I'm not getting nothing back.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so it's trade-offs to everything. You know what I mean? But I think that's healthy. Like, I'm sure you're not charging nothing that's uneven exchange, and neither was I. If anything, I probably should have charged more for those t-shirts.
Exactly.
Man.
But
I could have still, I would have been making more. I mean, I made profits still, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Sometimes I think like certain types of personalities, we can sell ourselves short.
Yeah. And to me, it's like, I feel like there's nothing wrong with people being like that, but it's like, realistically, that's what's hard. That's why sometimes people have a team. Like, I have a manager, I have a salesperson, I have this, I have that. Because sometimes you having to be all those, it could get a little tricky, because sometimes you need that backbone type of person, that person that ain't gonna back down, and it's like, no, it's this
things
price
can
and
get
this
real
price.
Personal. Like, even with like collaborations and stuff like that. Like, it's been times where, like, me personally, I wish, like, not everybody, but a lot of people, I wish that I could, but really, like, I'm in a place now, especially where it's like, I feel like all my time needs to go towards my solo work. If anything, you know what I mean, towards my solo work or other things. And it's people that I want to work with, or people that I told I would work with. And like early on, or not even early on, even as recently as like 2 years ago, I would tell people that I wouldn't want to tell people no.
Yeah.
And that comes with a trade-off. Because then if you don't end up fulfilling it, they're mad. They're even more, I don't know if they're more mad than if you told them no from the get-go. Sometimes they're just, whether you tell them, once they ask, it's over. Once they ask for something, whether you say yes and then you can't fulfill it, or you say no, it's over. Like, that was the end of
You know what's crazy?
the
It's like I
connection there.
seen this post on Instagram that was like it was a tweet from Nip, and it said something along the lines that like if you make promises, you're gonna make enemies. Like you can never make promises, and that's some real shit. Like you don't ever guarantee anybody shit because there's no guarantees. They say if I can get to it, I will, or a simple no, like you said. And that's another thing. That's what I was kind of getting back to. All is like it took me to become this part of my life, and at this point where I'm just like I learned to say no.
Yeah.
I used to be a yes man, and that shit's embarrassing. I used to never like turn down anything but my collar. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, but I just would. I would always just overextend myself till I got like spiritually drained, physically drained, mentally drained, and I feel like that shit almost took me off the planet of the earth of wanting to create anymore. Like it almost took me to that point of no return where I was gonna say fuck this. Yeah. Like I know every artist came to that point where they're in their head about it, about whether they want to create or not, but just me overextending myself or trying to do too much made me like fuck that shit. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And I don't want to ever go back to that point. That was like the worst point I ever placed myself in, and where I said if I really want to take myself serious, I have to set a boundary for myself and let people know like if you want to use my time or utilize something or the tools that I have, what I can help you, it comes with a price or like you said, a fair exchange.
Some kind of exchange. It doesn't even always have to be monetary, but it has to be. I mean, it doesn't even have to be like you could do stuff for people just out of the kindness. You know what I mean? Here and there, that's definitely good for the soul to do things for people just out of the kindness. You know what I mean? Random acts of kindness, or you know what I mean, just things like that. But at the same time, for that to be what you are and you're not getting nothing back, like eventually you risk being resentful or people resenting you, and it's
or just using you, you know. And that's where it's like you gotta have a balance, which I understand now. Like I said, like I'm starting to understand that now, and it's all about balance and understanding and knowing yourself as a person, because I feel like you as a person are extremely valuable and extremely like important, that you can't sell yourself short. And then I realized that upon myself, and I just realized like, no, like you have like, as we're growing, you have to learn to set boundaries and just be like you said, it's as simple as a no, or try not to make false promises to people, because it's like when you, like you said, when you don't follow up, they'll resent you. But it was like a come to terms with that I had to like start understanding, and I'm just like shit. It's a whole nother power I just unlocked by doing all that.
Yeah, and that's similar as like the fear thing or the insecurity thing. It's like certain days it's easier to tell people no than others. Like some people can feel this guy's feeling. I feel like certain people know this guy's feeling given today. Like it's like certain days like I feel more like saying yes or not, like helping people, not helping people, but you know what I mean, certain days I'm more vulnerable to saying yes to something that maybe I shouldn't say yes to than others. And then it's certain people that only pop up during those days, and they have no reason to know that you're having one of those days, but it's just so strange, you know what I mean? Like certain people that always ask for things, like they always seem to hit at that time. I don't know, maybe if it's just God trying to teach you to learn how to, you know, balance things out depending where it's not like so tied to how you're feeling that day, but more so you thinking things through. You know what I mean? But I don't know what it is. It's just like, I don't know. Like when I used to like drink, like I don't drink hard liquor anymore. But when I used to, I used to have this problem where like I would just get real generous with my money, like just buy people things. Or,
I'm the same way.
like man, whatever. I want everybody to have a good time.
Yeah. You don't be around me while I'm drinking with some money, bro.
Yeah. So then I stopped and then like I drank. This is like 2 years ago now, maybe a year ago, and then like I stopped giving out money or whatever, and then like I started drinking less too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But then I finally drink again. This is like over a year ago, actually, a year and a half ago. I drink again. Somebody banging my line. Hey, you think I could hold $40? Blah, blah, blah. Like, how did you even know that and I said yes.
Oh my God.
It's like, damn, because it got to a point where it was like, all right, I got to a point where I could drink and then still say no, but it was because I don't know if it's tolerance or what. But then it's like I stopped drinking. Now I'm drinking again, and now also this pattern is trying to creep back up. I'm like, nah, man, nah. But I think that's a big part of like mastery of yourself. It's just realizing your patterns of what takes you to certain things or certain things that you want to avoid. Like everything in your mind is like a neural pathway of like a chain of things that lead you to certain things. You know what I mean? Like whether it's a craving or certain things, like things can trigger you and then lead you. Everything's tied together like just like a bunch of branches in your mind. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, alcohol, letting down. Well, I probably was feeling a certain type of way and then drank. Then the alcohol letting down my inhibitions. Now I'm feeling good. I'm feeling overly good. I'm naturally a giving person, but my inhibitions have taught me that I need to regulate how much I give. You know what I mean? Or be careful. But now my inhibitions are down. So now that chain of events, now somebody's asking me for something. Now I'm giving. Now I'm not used to drinking, and then I wake up the next day and I'm regretful of it. Now I'm resentful that I gave. I'm resentful that they even asked. And it's like a chain of things. How do I avoid getting to point Z? It's like, all right, let me pay attention at point A. You know what I mean? And with anything, like, that's the crazy thing about, like, even like on a deeper level, like when people have things like maybe they have a gambling problem or they always tell you, like, if you have a problem with something, know your triggers. Know your triggers. And I feel like going even further than that, that goes with learning. Like we were talking about earlier, how like the best way to retain information is like teaching others or, experience. Like that's because you're creating more branches for that particular thing that you learn to be tied to. Like you're tying it down in your brain with all these branches, creating neural pathways. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just the mind's crazy. I'm going way.
It's good context though, but it makes sense, bro. And the thing too, like to add to what all the stuff we're talking about is the fact that like deep inside who you are as a person, and you are a good person. You know what I mean? Because of how you are, how you carry yourself, how you were raised. Inside who you are as a person, and I feel like if you say no to sometimes being over generous or the generosity, that doesn't make you a non-generous person. Though you went your whole life being generous, you know what I'm saying? But we gotta realize that there's some people or some souls out there that they prey on the generous people. And that's what I'm saying. Like I learned firsthand, bro, and it takes you a long time to start realizing, like, man, sometimes these people are just out here to use.
Sometimes it blows my mind how people can operate. That shit
is sad, bro.
But then something that's humbling is when I see myself act out of character or what I perceive as what my character is or what my ego tells me my character is. Like when I make mistakes or big mistakes, it humbles you because then sometimes maybe you can empathize with how somebody is a certain type of way. You know what I mean? Like, because none of us are perfect. So it's like in my life, I've said certain things or done certain things at times, whether I was drinking or whatever, where it's like, damn, I didn't even know I was capable of saying something like that or doing some shit like that. And then it brings you an understanding of other people that you always judged for doing certain types of things or being in certain situations that you never. That's why I try to be as empathetic as possible, or try to be as understanding as possible, and also try to encourage people to break out of their boxes. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's easy to say like, dang, people are so messed up, but then like when you think about your transgressions or whatever, and you break out of your box of understanding, it's kind of like, damn, like I don't know, like I don't know why this person is this way either, but I know that there are people this way, so I need to be careful with certain types of people or look out for certain types of things, but at the same time, I can't just characterize this person as evil or bad. Like it blows my mind how the evil things that people do, but we're all capable of doing evil things. We're all capable of doing bad things. Um, it can define you, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, something led you to be that way, or it's like, I don't know, it's just so complex. I try to be as understanding as possible, but I also realize that trying to be too understanding can be dangerous because then you could be so empathetic that you let your guard down, and then these people that are so set in these ways will take advantage. It's like a crazy catch-22 because it's like you want to be understanding and you don't want to be judgmental, but at the same time, it's like
a double-edged sword,
yeah,
bro. Like you're gonna get cut on either end. There's no right or wrong
like
way. Like
balance, I guess, just balance.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's like I understand why you are that way, and maybe even at certain times of my life I was a similar way. So I want to be understanding, but at the same time, I can't let you prey upon
at the same time
my
too,
mindset.
if you were in a bad spot, I'm sure there was some influence by somebody who eventually put you in your place. And sometimes you may need to do that to pay it forward and put someone else in their place. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I totally understand.
That's where like trusting God and the universe comes in. Like just
for real,
try to just use your best judgment in any situation. It isn't gonna be perfect, but just try, and hopefully God rewards that. You know what I mean? Hopefully God looks out. I try to just like I don't want to completely avoid a certain type or be too judgmental or too this or that because I know that's a trap within itself. But then it's also a trap of being too open to everything. So it's like it is like you just double-edged sword, like you said.
Balance, bro.
Yeah, bro.
What motivates you to write at the end of the day? Like, what keeps you creative? What keeps you wanting to write more, having new content? What keeps you fresh?
I don't know, because like I for the longest I wasn't feeling like writing. Like I know I can just muster up some bars or some inspiration. I'd say um like if I hear like just like some sounds that just make me feel something that could get me going to write something. Especially like if everything just aligns, like the mood of the day and the weather and what's going on in the world, and a beat comes on that just matches it. Like that's what I look for now, which is why like kind of like I haven't been in a rush to put out content because I've been kind of being too artsy with my shit. But it's like I think at this point it's just kind of like I just can do it. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily need to be inspired. I just kind of like can just like feed off of what I'm thinking that day or what I'm going through or whatever. But the best stuff is when just all the stars align, like everything just aligns, like the mood, experiences, what's going on in the world, and the beat, and it's something unique and new and fresh, and it just when it just all aligns like that, it's just that's amazing. But that's hard to come by. A lot of my music was not created with that. But when it is created with that, like Society is Porn was created with that type of energy, or my song Solo, the one where I have like the cap and gown and the rags on my neck and the flag, like that was created. It was a beat that I had heard a million times and I hated that beat. Like it just was too trappy. Not even too trappy. I like trap. I like all kinds of music. It wasn't even that. It was just like too something. Like it sounded too familiar. Like it didn't seem unique. Then one day I just parked my car and like I was angry about something. I don't even know what I was angry about. Probably since I'm saying I don't trust nobody, I probably was feeling like I didn't trust anybody. I don't know. I can't remember what's going on. I'm angry. It's raining like, and it had been like a drought. Like it hadn't even been raining like that. It's raining super bad. I'm in the car and then the music is loud and then this beat comes on. And then like, I don't know. I just started yelling, I don't trust nobody. And then it was just like, wait, this sounds really good on this beat with this energy, with this cadence, and this really feels really, really good, bro. Like, I swear, like, I just like
That's
just started
crazy.
saying stuff out loud and just typed it down so I didn't forget it.
Mhm.
And then I was like, I hit up Katori because I recorded it over at his place. I was like, bro. And he was like super. This is around the time when he was getting ready to sign his deal with Capitol, and he was just so like caught up in what he was doing. Like, I didn't really want to go over and record or get in his space. You know what I mean? I was like, bro, I gotta record this now. I gotta record this now, bro. And I need you to engineer it for me. I gotta do this now, bro.
Mhm.
And yeah, like this just the stars align, and then that's a piece of art that like I feel like I could stand behind now in rap.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And in certain things where it's like more moody or more forced, but that is like I feel like that will be timeless to me because all the stars aligned.
Yeah, it was
With
just
that
right.
song.
It
And
was just
Society
right.
is Porn, it was just right. Whereas like other things, it was just a little bit more forced where it was like it was right, but it wasn't as like it's not as you know what I mean? Not as I don't know even know the word, bro. It's just like a feeling. Like
Yeah, some songs it just feels natural, and then some it's like you feel like you had to put extra work or you didn't put as much work into. But some songs just feel like this one's right. This one's right here,
yeah.
and it just comes natural. It feels good to you, and you just go with your gut on that.
Yeah.
On that record.
Yeah.
If there's anything you could have told your younger self or could tell your younger self, what would it be?
Just don't let this moment define you. Don't be just don't be scared. Like don't just think beyond this moment. Like this moment is only the moment. Like you know
It's
what I mean?
temporary.
Like all these opinions are here today and gone tomorrow. Like all these judgments and insecurities are here today and gone tomorrow. Like don't get so like be in your head and think, but don't be so trapped to the point where you're stagnant. You know what I mean? And if don't be afraid to feel uncomfortable. Don't be afraid to step away from things if it doesn't feel right or to experience new things. I feel like a lot of times maybe what was holding me back was my fear of change, like being too scared to change or too scared to step away from something or thinking that I wasn't better than something or that there wasn't more out there for me than what was going on in that moment, and that can really be a trap, you know what I mean? And that's no everything happens for a reason, you know what I mean? So I don't want to downplay anything that I've experienced or went through, but it's certain things that maybe like I let have a hold of me for way longer than I should have, whereas maybe now I wish I would have spent more time just focused on me and my growth than like, you know what I mean, holding on to certain things or letting certain insecurities and fears consume me. But maybe I needed to let certain insecurities and fears consume me for a while so I'd know that I didn't want to do that later.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for real.
Yeah, so I don't know.
For anyone that would want to pursue music, anyone
Yeah.
listening to this interview,
Yeah.
that would like to pursue rapping or just creativeness in general, what could you recommend to them?
I
About
say
starting out.
just do it and just do it. Like and I'd say like no matter how bad you are, just stay at it. Create your own lane. I feel like if you're true to yourself or you're true to your vision, you don't even it isn't even I hate to say it, but it's just facts cuz a lot of artists probably aren't being true to themselves, but they're being true to their vision or their goal. And it's working for them. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a
Exactly.
lot of people don't care about their craft or whatever, but they know what they're trying to like if you're just like, man, I'm just trying to make some money, I'm just trying to make some catchy stuff that
Yeah,
I could just
yeah.
party, like that's your vision, like you can literally do it and get better at it continually if you just stay true to that. If you want to be someone that like just be true to your vision, like
Yeah, that's
yeah,
real
and
shit.
yeah, bro. Like you could literally create your own lane as long as you just get going. You get going and start brick by brick. You just start creating your own lane. You know what I mean? And I think that's something else I wish that my younger self knew was that um, even though I kind of did it anyway, like stay true to myself, it was kind of like a conflict. Whereas like now it's just kind of like literally you could create your whole own lane. Like back then it was just kind of like, look at how diverse hip hop is now. Like look at, even if you don't like it, like look at like what you see, like all the different kinds of styles and crazy thing people are doing. It's just kind of like, it just goes to show like you can literally do whatever, but if you're true to it and consistent with it, people out there will follow you. Like they'll follow suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think now, like I don't even know if we were. I think it was before the interview where I was talking about. Oh no, it was during it where I was talking about like there was like certain projects. There was a sense of like where I felt like lost, and it's hard to like tour off of that or to still promote certain stuff like that because I feel like I'm constantly evolving. But that's just the kind of artist that I am. I'm an artist that I'm so true to my thoughts when I'm rapping that it's like it's hard to like just carve out a lane because I'm being myself. You know what I mean?
Consistently just going off your thoughts and feelings that you want to be current with what
you want
to
be true to your conscious and you also want to speak on things going on around you or whatever. That's a tough road. That's a really tough road, and it might not bring back the returns, maybe not immediately, that you see some of the other people taking. But if that's what you want to do, if that's your vision, stay true to it, and don't like just stay true to it the whole time, and just know that it's gonna be hard, and then it might not be as quick of a blow up as like a one hit, not even, I don't want to say one hit wonder, but like a party song or certain types of things. It might not happen as quick, but if that's what you want to do, just do it and stay true to it, and you'll improve. You'll improve, and at least you'll get to the point where you felt like you gave your all and you were being true to yourself and what you wanted to do. Yeah, bro. Just know, like we said, everything comes with trade-offs. Like if you want to be a conscious rapper or certain types of things, or you want to be a really like have a lot of artist integrity, a lot of integrity in your art, it comes with a price, because like there's the music business and then there's music. You know what I mean? And they don't move the same way necessarily. You know what I mean? Not to disrespect one or the other. If it's more so just about making money and all of that, if that's really what you're about, there's certain steps that you could take
to just make that happen.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my only advice. It's just kind of like the quicker you figure out which way you want to go, the quicker you'll know what your next step needs to be. You know what I mean? But just know that certain things don't go hand in hand. They don't go hand in hand, or it's gonna be very difficult for those things to go hand in hand.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like if you're like if you're like a super political type rapper, and then you're getting offered from a label where everybody on the label is like making like really trendy party type songs, you know what I mean? Like, would that really work, or should you even expect them to reach out? And if they do, will it work out once you're there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think just have a clear vision for yourself. And even myself, I've been doing this for a long time. My vision ain't even clear all the time, but I'm trying. I know I need one. I know that now. And I wish I knew that back then. Because back then I was just kind of like in the rat race. Like doing what I do, but not knowing how I was going to get to the other side. Now I know, like, it's certain things that I could do. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about merchandising earlier and monetizing, and now we're in a place where you can distribute your music yourself, you know what I mean? Or just even understanding the dynamics of deals, the dynamics of the contracts and different types of situations, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of a good thing that nobody tried to sign me when I was younger. Certain opportunities that may present itself now didn't present itself when I was younger. Yeah, because I would have just jumped at it and then just been in there. Now I really think things through, because I know that it's gonna lead down to something else. Everything has a what's the word? Everything
like has a way of revealing itself.
Yeah, not just that, but it's like cause and effect. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
for every action, there's a reaction.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's just kind of like just think things through and have a clear vision for yourself, and then look at. I mean, I would say look at what people before you, what their path was, but nah, like just kind of know your vision, because what worked for them probably ain't gonna work for you, especially the way things are set up now.
Yeah, it's changing.
It's like
it
everything's ever
day.
changing. Like just map it out, blueprint it, and then just follow that. Like, and you don't even have to follow nobody else. You could carve your own lane. Jay-Z carved his own lane. Look where he's at now. You know what I mean? Like all these people, the ones that last, they carved their own lane. You know.
What
I went on a long tangent right there.
Nah,
man.
It's all good. That's good information, bro. Yeah. What do you read books or listen to audiobooks?
I read, but I wouldn't say it's been a while since I just sat down or just went through the same book the whole way through. I just kind of like soak in a lot of information. There was this one book recently that I low key did, like I kind of did go through the whole thing. What was it called? I think it was called Return of the Dove. It's like a super underground book.
Oh, for real?
And it's like a third person biography of the life of Nikola Tesla.
Oh, word.
And it's super like, it's crazy, like the wording in it. Like I think like people would think it's like a crazy person wrote it, but it's like I don't want to be disrespectful, but it's just so like it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like a book. Like I don't even know how I came across it, bro. But it's like I don't know. It was crazy. It was crazy.
What's it called again? Return of the Dove?
Let me see. I think it was called Return of the Dove. It's a super underground book. But the thing about me is I don't have to necessarily believe all the facts of a book or of a story to understand that theme is what matters. Like I think even like with religious texts, like you could say you believe in this or you believe in this, but I feel like most of the different types of religions and things, like they have a common theme, like common things that throughout all these different things, the same type of theme plays out, whether it's a theme of like jealousy or envy being evil or treat others the way you want to be. Certain themes, no matter what you believe in, like they transcend. So yeah, it's called Return of the Dove.
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
A biography of the great personality of Nikola Tesla reveals much of the danger, mystery, conspiracy. Like basically, bro, it's a crazy book.
It's
in the book, it's talking about him being like from another planet and all kinds of things. Like that's the type of stuff where people be like, "Oh, this is BS." But the theme of it was he had like a feud with Thomas Edison, and it's like a common thing that you see kind of throughout time of like you have like a super creative that's super true to their form and like money isn't what drives them, and then you have somebody that's also creative but they also know how to make money and they also kind of like feed into the market and they kind of they let that kind of like shift them in a way, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's like Thomas Edison's an inventor and then Nikola Tesla's an inventor. But then Thomas Edison knows how to make money. He knows about patents. He knows how to do kind of things like take ideas and certain types of things. And then like the J.P. Morgans and like the wealthy people and the capitalists, they get behind Thomas Edison, where it's kind of like Nikola Tesla was really like the mind behind everything, but he never got the notoriety.
Yeah, he didn't have.
He dies like a starving artist type situation. Like he did have a point in time where he did get notoriety, but it didn't stay. And like he had all these ideas, probably way more ideas than Thomas Edison, but Thomas Edison had way more money. Like our electric company's named after Edison. You know what I mean? Like all kinds of things, because he knew how to make money, and he dealt with those the corporations, like the money, you know what I mean? And you can apply that with me. It really was eye-opening to me because I can apply that to this musical journey. It's like certain people where it's like they know how to make money and they know how to like maneuver with a record deal and certain types of things where like they get these record deals and then they shift, or it changes them in a way, but they still have it, but it's like they're playing the game. And then there's somebody like me where it's like it's very difficult to stay playing the game or to get in the game, because like I'm just driven by something. Like I identify with Nikola Tesla in a lot of ways, you know what I mean? And another rapper that really inspired me, Jay Electronica. He just dropped yesterday, bro. It's crazy. Him and Jay-Z dropped the album together.
I gotta check that out. I'm late. I have not got it yet, but I gotta get it for sure.
And I remember on Exhibit C, a song he dropped 10 years ago. He's like, I'm the Marcus Garvey Nikki Tesla, and like I get it, because it's like him and J. Cole signed to Rock Nation at the same time. I'm not saying anything negative about J. Cole, but obviously they signed at the same time. But J. Cole has able to parlay his career, play the game a little bit to the point where like he's still creative, like still innovative, still, you know what I mean? You respect him in that way, but he's been able to blow up and make his name bigger. Whereas like Jay Electronica was so true to his 5%er Nation of Islam way of thinking, like of just spreading that type of conscious message to where it's not mainstream profitable in a certain type of way. But he was so true to form where it's kind of like he's literally inspired all these rappers that are huge now off conscious stuff. Like he's inspired the Kendrick Lamars and the Ab-Souls and the TDEs and the J. Coles and now they have people under them that are inspired by them. But really, like Jay Electronica was like
carrying the torch,
one of the roots, yeah. And I remember, I don't even know what made me look at it. I was looking at Drake's first album, the credits when he's thanking people, and he thanks Jay Electronica on. So you got Drake, the biggest artist in the world, is thanking Jay Electronica, and Jay Electronica is just like, he hasn't put out an album this whole time. People were so disrespectful. Even now, like, oh, Jay-Z outshined him. They don't understand. This guy was the root. You know what I mean? Like, really the innovator. Like man, and like stories like that, like remind me of the Return of the Dove
underdog
thing.
Stories,
Yeah,
bro.
not even the underdog, but just like the people that are like the real, or they're like real minds behind all of it, like the inspiration. Like I forget who said, I think it was Royce 5'9", like everybody praises the butterfly but forgets about the caterpillar. You wouldn't get the butterfly without the caterpillar. The caterpillar is just as important, and in a sense the beauty of the caterpillar is equivalent to the beauty of the butterfly. Just because the butterfly is all colorful and shiny, like not everything that glitters is gold.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? So stories like that, and he said, I'm the Marcus Garvey Nikki Tesla, and I was hearing about, like, I already kind of like had knowledge about Marcus Garvey, but they're talking about how like Marcus Garvey just had a certain way of a certain movement. He wanted to move people back to Africa, like black people, like start their own country type thing. You know what I mean? Whereas like they started propping up other types of black intellectuals that kind of had a more moderate view, where it was kind of like work within the confines of what's going on here. Like don't leave and start your own thing. And that started getting more attention, and it was supported
than what he was doing.
Yeah, and it was and he inspired all of it, but it was more like it fed into like the capitalist way of thinking, like what the people, the status quo, what they wanted. It was kind of like more like a moderate way, where it was kind of like Marcus Garvey was like, man, let's just rebel all the way, or let's just stay true to form and just do this. And then it was like other people came in. I think they said it was W.E.B. Du Bois or something like that, where it was just more like he was still a great, powerful black, you know what I mean, so influential into what we've become, you know what I mean? Like no disrespect to him, but he more so aligned with what maybe America itself, the powers of America wanted, which is to like keep us here, like not let us be completely independent, free. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's crazy. It's crazy when you think in depth of it.
So I'm thinking about the common themes of like a Nikola Tesla or a Jay Electronica or a Marcus Garvey, and the common themes of money controlling so much. And then if you have a certain type of thing, money can kind of not hijack it, but you know what I mean, influence it. Like that's a common theme and definitely something to think about, which even goes back to what we were talking about. Like, know what you want to do. Like, if you want to be super true to form, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. It might not pay out the way you want to. And then if you do wanna, if it is about money, like it's certain things that you can do.
And you gotta learn about money. You gotta learn about how money and how it works and how to angle what it is you're doing.
And networking and knowing with those networks, with those connections comes losing a little bit of yourself, I think. Yeah. And I think, like sometimes when you're trying to maintain a network or trying to, maintain certain types of ties, you sacrifice some of what you truly are.
Yeah.
Even going a step further, like talking about Marcus Garvey and Nikki Tesla and all that, feeding into Bernie Sanders. Takes no money from corporations and corporate donors, from all these big billionaires or whatever. And then somebody like Joe Biden, like, or any of these other candidates, they low key like try to take Bernie's message in a way and promote that, but then they also are catering and taking money from these donors and trying to, no, I'm moderate, like I'm in the middle, like Bernie's too extreme, but really he's just being true
to what he believes in.
Truth comes with a price. Truth and being really true to form, it comes with a price, because there's interests out there that want you to not be that. You know what I mean? When you're completely 100% trying to be, not even 100%, nobody's 100%, but when you're really trying to be pure, it comes with a price, man. Like, Bernie is losing now. He's losing to Joe Biden, not because Joe Biden has any ideas, but the media and the powers that be, they're protecting Biden and they're going against Bernie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, it's not even that they're in Joe Biden's pocket. Joe Biden's in somebody else's pocket. Like, it's people with a vested interest in making sure that Bernie Sanders doesn't. And who does Bernie Sanders want to go against the most? Wall Street, the rich, the money. You know what I mean? He's rebelling against that. So it's kind of like, it's within their interest to get a candidate that's gonna, kind of tell the people what they want to hear and give them some of the things that they want,
but not all of it.
But cater to us. You know what I mean? Whereas Bernie is all about the people. Or to the point where they're using that against him. You know what I mean? Like, he can't really do this. You can't have it's gonna cost you guys more money to have health care for everybody and pay for education for everybody. Like, you know how much that'll cost? Bro, yesterday, with the corona shit, all this stuff going on, the federal government prints out $1.5 trillion.
Oh, I seen that.
Throws it into the stock market, hoping it's gonna save the stock market, and it didn't save the stock market. 1.5 trillion would paid off everybody's student debt. The excuse that they're gonna try to tell you to make you think that was okay is that when you bail out Wall Street, when you bail out the rich, it stimulates the economy because they're gonna make the money back. This is just a loan. If you pay off our loans and then we have money to spend,
we're gonna go spend it.
We're gonna spend it and stimulate the economy. You know what I mean? But they're gonna put the spin on that, and then people are gonna be like, "Oh, okay." But bro, we have enough money. We shouldn't have half 500,000 people homeless, bro.
Yeah,
we shouldn't have so many people living check to check. We shouldn't have where all the wealth is focused in what, like 10%. You know what I mean? Like, most of the wealth is focused in such a small group of people. Like, it shouldn't be that way. Like, we should have health care for all. We can have all of these things, and then they say, oh, it's gonna turn us into Cuba or Venezuela or all these countries that have all this bad stuff going on. France has universal health care.
Yeah.
Like, Bernie's a democratic socialist. That's evil. They probably scared away millions of voters just because off of this socialist thing. The prime minister of the United Kingdom throughout the 2000s was a democratic socialist. The UK, they're not perfect, but they didn't turn into Venezuela. But the media puts the spin on it.
What they do.
The money, they put the spin on it. They tell us we don't have the money. They tell us we can't do this while they're really working and doing all this other stuff. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. Like, that's when I was talking about my biggest fears, like that things are beyond repair.
Yeah,
Stuff like that scares
like that.
me.
Yeah,
the fact that if you're so true to form that somebody like Nikola Tesla would die the way that he died without getting the credit that he deserved. You know what I mean? That Bernie Sanders might never be the president. You know what I mean? He's old. Like he might never get this chance again. You know what I mean? That Marcus Garvey died. You know what I mean? Like that Pac died. You know what I'm saying? Like, man,
trying to get their purest form across.
Yeah, and people might say that Tupac wasn't being true because he switched up at certain points after certain things. I mean, he was trying to act hard or whatever. In the end, that Machiavelli album, he was definitely being true to form. He definitely was being 100% true to form at that point. You know what I mean? He was definitely, he had took all of his experiences, the point where he was lost and raging, and he was still raging, but it was more focused. Like, it's scary to think that the people with the pure intentions are gonna die without, you know what I mean? It's scary.
Yeah,
it's scary. And it's scary seeing that.
I think about that all the time, and that's why one thing that I take back to me working for other people, me working jobs, is like, is the things that I want to do with my life, am I really gonna get that from working these jobs? I need to pay my bills, but at the end of the day, I when my day's over and I'm going home and I'm thinking to myself, like, does this serve justice for me? Like, am I really getting what I deserve, and do I feel fulfilled? Because my ideas and how far I know I could go and what I can do, and I bring them to the table, but if they're not being accepted here, I need to do for my own, because being true to yourself in different environments, people sometimes are against it or they don't like it, and it could be for the better. Yeah. And then some people are afraid of that. Some people are afraid of that change, or some people are afraid that you may be that light in the dark, and they don't want to accept it. Yeah. And it's just like, damn, like that's what just gets me in my head, where I'm just like, I want to just do for my own. Yeah. Because if you can't get it out of somewhere else where you're killing yourself, and you're spending most of your days somewhere, or you spend most of your life in a place that you can't live your truest way. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather take my chances elsewhere. Yeah. And that's kind of like, as I grow older, I start to think that, like, I want to get, better at budgeting more, and better at being financially literate, that I could.
So then you don't have to feel like rely you're selling yourself short or working for others, and so you can be as independent and true to yourself as possible.
For real.
And that's definitely attainable. That's one thing that is 100% attainable. You know what I'm saying? What does seem more and more unattainable by the day, I wouldn't even say more and more, but it's just sad, is that, like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe not even necessarily. Earlier I said die young, you know what I mean? Like, but the hard part is that the people might never all get behind the truth. That's like, you can live in your truth, and you could figure out a way to maneuver to where you could kind of like unplug yourself from a lot of the other things. You know what I mean? Like obviously, like Bernie Sanders didn't die young, and he's been true to form. You know what I'm saying? He just might never be at the point where he got the people to rally behind him to really do what he could have done. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Nikola Tesla, even, like, he had times where he was doing really, really well. You know what I mean? And he just didn't. He never was able to, you know what I mean, get to the point where maybe he got what he deserved. You know what I mean? But you could definitely be true to yourself and make a living. You know what I mean? You could be true to yourself and maybe even be wealthy. You know what I mean? Independently wealthy. But if you think you could be true to yourself and then be like, it's going to be way harder to be true to yourself and then be the biggest artist in the world, the richest person in the world. Yeah. It's going to be really hard to do that.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Even like when people create these websites and these apps and stuff like that, that's very, very profitable, you know what I mean, in the beginning. But then gradually, the integrity of these, that's why people start not wanting to use Facebook anymore, not wanting to use certain things anymore. Their integrity slowly starts getting tainted by all the money and the people that have invested interest in it. It starts changing the integrity of was a brilliant idea. You know what I mean?
Because you start to see people's underlining like personal agendas they have out for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's no longer part of like it's no longer just a network for people to come in contact with each other and a place for a space of growth and positivity. It's now a place for advertisement and pushing their agenda, pushing their propaganda, or pushing whatever information they want to influence you. And it's like you and I know better, but what about those who may not know better, are educated enough, and they're getting pushed this information that's just force fed down the damn tube that they're getting exposed to this, and they may not know right from wrong, and they're just like soaking it in. And it's like it's manipulation, and that's what it kind of sold out to. That's what a lot of shit sells out to, and it's crazy that it happens that way.
Deception, that's the scary thing, man, is that like truth is, it's so hard to get people to get behind the truth. It's so easy for people to shoot down the truth. People almost get resentful towards the truth, hateful towards the truth. Like they don't want the truth, can't handle the truth, you know. But then deception is so profitable.
That's crazy.
Like, it's like people would want to be lied to. Not even that they want to. I don't know what it is. I can't call it because I ain't in everybody's mind. But I guess I could see, especially like when I talked about how being emotionally equipped to go down certain rabbit holes and think about certain things now.
Yeah.
How I'm more equipped for that than when I was younger. I could kind of see why people would want to lie to themselves so they don't have to deal with reality.
That's why I say like ignorance is bliss because like
red pill, blue pill.
Yeah, Matrix. Ignorance is so bliss because it's like if you just live your normal life and you're just like do your regular thing and that's it, then you're good. You got nothing to worry about except that whatever happens, you're just gonna go with the wave and the train.
Be on the wave.
Yeah, and you're just gonna accept what changes there are. But if you know what's up and you're just like, fuck, I gotta do something with it, or at least die trying to do something different, you know? And
that's what's so scary about this coronavirus thing.
Yeah.
It's like beyond the virus itself. Like, what information do we trust?
Exactly.
Like, what is the agenda? What is the truth? Like we know for fact that it can be lethal. How much more lethal is it than, or how much more dangerous is it than all of the other scares that we've had?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some people will say, and even it'll be reputable medical people in the medical field, some people will say this is like something that they're hyping up for political agenda. And then there's some people that say, oh no, it's really dangerous. I think, well, if we look at the facts, it is really, really dangerous in the sense that it's scary that you can get it, overcome it, and then get it again right afterwards.
Yeah.
Because usually your immune system works in a way where it's like once you get something, you build up the antibodies, and then it's like, you know what I mean? That's why we get vaccines. Yeah. It's because they inject you with, I'm not perfect.
Like with the they inject you with it.
Yeah.
So your body could fight it, and then now you're immune to it in a sense.
Exactly. That's what's scary about this, which is like, that works in the favor of the people that argue that, you know, it's more dangerous, you know what I mean? But then at the same time, it's kind of like the news lies. Not, I wouldn't say they lie. They present information in a certain type of way that makes us think a certain type of way and benefits certain types of people.
Yeah.
Whether you're watching conservative news outlets and then they're trying to prop up what they believe in, or Democratic news outlets, or Facebook, which I feel like, or Facebook and things like that, which I feel like they definitely cater more towards like a liberal, you know what I mean? And I consider myself a liberal, but then there's like a difference between being like a liberal like ideologically, and then like being like establishment liberal. Like it's kind of like, one is like you're going with your morals and what you think is right, and then one is like you're going with the agenda. I'm not about agendas. I'm just about, if you could convince me that I'm wrong and my morals tell me I'm wrong, I'm open to it. But I think the way I think because this is what I truly in my heart feel. Not because I'm going with the agenda or I'm trying to prove these people it's us versus me versus them. Like I look at it like I'm just thinking about what's best for everybody, because I feel like it's in my best interest to want the best for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, like, greed is the root of all evil. I think that selfishness is the root of all evil. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're more powerful. We're more safer together than when we're divided. Because when you're divided, there's a sense of mistrust, miscommunication, misunderstanding, and that's dangerous. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, if you're kind of all working together, it's kind of like it's different. But I don't know, man.
That's some real shit though, bro.
Bruh.
But to add to the spin on all that, it's a trip on how serious and severe they made it, where it's like every business entity, my emails are blowing up from the bank and from Walgreens and from all that. They're all talking about this virus. And it's just like, is like you said, is this just a push for money? Is it a political push? Is it something that we really need to be worried about? But the panic is just crazy, and I be just trying to tell people, don't panic. You just gotta just do what you gotta do and just keep on living. But you cannot panic. But the way that they're pushing this thing is like, this is the biggest push I've seen. Like, you know, I'm sure of our time at least. I know there was always other scares in different generations that faced but I don't know. Who knows if the numbers are real or what the there's probably a hidden agenda behind everything.
Like, if this is manipulation and they're just like testing the waters to see how much they can control the people with information or with fear, like, man, they got us. Like, literally,
you should see all them lines at the Costco, bro. People are freaking out.
Like, you know how, like, it's all the conspiracies about martial law and all that kinds of stuff like that. Like, literally, they could tell us not to come out of our house and put us into martial law, and we'll think that's what's best for us. And you know what they say? Like, I forget who said it, but like the best kind of slave is one that doesn't know that they're being enslaved.
Yeah.
Like, if the agenda really is that dark, like, damn, we kind of lost. Like, they got, like, even me, I ask so many questions and am skeptical of so many things, but I'm worried. I'm scared. I don't really want to be moving around like that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to quarantine, man. I'm gonna quarantine myself, shit. But so it's like, damn. It's like, damn, they got like a stronghold on us.
We really don't know what to believe or not to believe.
And if even if it is real right now, if they decided to lie to us later, like, shit, they might be able to, like,
because they know how they
see how the mob mentality, like, bro, like, I don't know it's yet to be seen, because I knock on wood, I don't know what this virus is gonna do. But the way it's got people acting, the way economies are crashing, the way food is sold out and people are buying everything and acting crazy, like, I'm kind of worried about human behavior more than the actual virus. Like, yesterday, I seen this one lady trying to run over this other lady with the cart because she ain't moving fast enough.
Oh my God, bro! I'm saying the same thing. I'm telling people like that when I talk about this, I said don't panic. But I say the most important thing, this is just me telling people if this is really getting crazy, I said the most important thing you're going to need is water. Yeah. Everything, like, water is essential to your well-being, living, and whatever, because if stuff happens, you're going to need water. That, to me, like, food, you can go a couple days, you can find some canned goods, whatever, but you start to see how people start to show you their true animalistic instincts within them, because it's like, they're freaking out, and now you see people that you would have never thought. You probably see someone like, "Hey, how's it going?" Tripping. You know, they're normally nice people, whatever. Then you see their true self shows when they start panicking and flipping out. Like, that's the last thing you need to do is, like, calm the fuck down, chill out, and just, like, they got people worked up, willing to die over this shit, over some toilet paper.
Like I'm saying, like,
on aisle 4.
Like, I seen this lady trying to run over, like, getting so mad she was bumping this other lady with the cart, like, almost like knocking her down type thing, like, getting so frustrated. And then I'm thinking, like, this lady, when I hear her voice, she's gonna sound like the Wicked Witch, like, you know, sound evil, like, because she was just being so fucking rude. You know what I'm saying? She gets to the front of the line. she sounds so polite and sweet and nice. I'm like,
oh, she was,
yo.
oh, that's wild,
bro.
I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying.
People are acting out of character.
Yeah, and it's the people that like you just said, she was so polite and so kind and shit. It's those people that you have to watch your ass, bro. I'm telling you, like, they're the ones that'll flip.
That's why I'm like, man, I don't even want to go out low key because, like, one, the virus, and two, people are just wilding. I was buying my mom. I went to the store and I was buying my mom like a few packs of bagels yesterday, and I'd seen, because I live in LA, she lives in Pasadena, and I had seen like how like all the stores in LA really, like, those are really sold out of everything. So I'm getting towards, the lines are long still everywhere, and then I just see like cases of water. I'm like, I don't know if my girl picked up any cases, but I'm gonna get this too. I was like, I'm gonna get this too, because shit, I don't know how long this line's gonna be tomorrow, and I don't know if there's gonna be any more water.
Yeah,
man,
that's the most important thing. I think people should be mindful is just water. H2O.
Everybody makes fun of me because like, I've always been somebody, like, I like just love like juice. Like, I'm weird, bro. Like, I've never liked water. Like, I feel like it tastes like spit, which sounds ridiculous, bro. But I've hated water. I've been doing better. Doing better. Even before the virus, I've really been trying to drink water, like, this past like 3 months before the virus scare. So it's kind of like it's working smooth. Bro, I've been drinking so much water now. Like, if I had any reason before, I'm glad I already started transitioning into drinking less sugar and more water, because now it's like it's essential. Like, stay hydrated. Not even just because we might run out of water in the stores, but your immune system and being as healthy as possible is important, because once you some people say it's 1 in 3 Americans are going to get the virus at some point. And a lot of people are going to be able to get over it. That's why you want your immune system to be as strong as possible.
Yeah,
you want to be as healthy as possible. So if you do get it, you're going to be able to overcome it, because, man, I don't know.
You heard it first. PSA. J.Hurt.
Get your immune system right.
Yeah. So, where can people follow you, bro?
On Instagram at WhoTF is J.Hurt. WHOTFISJHURT. Same as Twitter. I don't really use Twitter as much, but if y'all follow me, I'll start using it on there. I'll start using that. And then, Twitter, Instagram, and then on the streaming platforms, J.HURT. No spaces in between anything. It's just J.HURT. Don't space anything out. That's the only way it will be searchable. I don't know why it's that way. That's just the way it is.
And they can find your
Apple
music on all platforms, right?
Apple Music, SoundCloud, Tidal, Spotify, it's a bunch of other ones.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
even
all like Deezer.
Deezer.
Yeah. There's so many.
I think we were talking about TikTok earlier. I think,
your music's probably on TikTok too.
I think I just had them put some stuff on TikTok. I don't know if they did it yet. I gotta check. Our conversation today reminded me that a few weeks ago I hit them up like, y'all gotta put this on TikTok, but on everything, all the stuff, all the mainstream stuff that people use, like those streaming platforms, SoundCloud even. J.HURT, no spaces in between any of that.
And what stuff you got out now? What's some new stuff you got out now?
My most recent releases are 2 singles, American Fruit and Society is Porn. I'm really proud of those songs. Those really represent where I stand today, my perspectives as of today. You know what I mean? And then I got a lot of older projects. I dropped one. It was like kind of like a compilation of stuff that I hadn't put out. I dropped one in 2019, Peace versus Peace.
That's a good project.
I appreciate it. That's actually like, that's not even like a real project in a sense. It was just like stuff I had recorded over 3 years that I hadn't put out yet.
I think when I was first corresponding with you through text about like us setting something up, this was a while back. I was at the gym listening to every project. Just
crazy.
Re-tapping into your music, because it's just, there's so many rabbit holes of music that you get pushed onto and then you start listening to. But honestly, I really just want to start listening to people I know. or fuck with, like, and get so consumed into their music and listening to people that I know on a personal level, that it's like I want to be in tune and help them get the streams, and the music's dope. So why not that be my favorite artist? These are my favorite artists, like local artists and artists that I resonate with, and my peers, because I feel like their music's dope and I could relate to it. That should be the shit that I should be spinning consistently. So I'm like at the gym all pumped up trying to lose some weight and shit, like listening to the music, like, man, this is hard, bro. That shit's super hard. For Society is Porn, do you have you memorize that track? You performed that track yet?
I don't know how many times I performed it. I performed it most recently, I think January 9th. It was like an event with First Gen. They're like an independent label ran by this guy. One guy's name is Matt, and the other guy's Anthony Kilhoffer. He's actually an engineer. He's engineered all Kanye's albums.
Nice.
Every Kanye album. Yeah, nice. He's a cool dude. They're both really, really cool. And there was a lot of other dope artists there from like different parts of the states that are popping off. I was probably like the least popular artist that was in there. I brought people out because it was in LA. So I had a lot of people. Like, I probably had a really good turnout. But when I looked up some of their streaming numbers and who they're aligned with, I was like, dang, these are Rock Nation and people with Jay-Z and Dame Dash and all kinds of stuff.
That shit don't matter though, bro, because what you got, you're not. You're rare. You're a rare piece to find. So I'm sure you stand out in a room full of everybody else. Bro.
I appreciate it. Yeah, they definitely were all showing love. Like, all of them, they were all really, really cool, really humble artists and talented. Like, hip hop, there's a lot. If you're willing to look, there's a lot of there's whatever your preference is, it's out there if you look hard enough at this point. You know what I mean? You just gotta look. And I performed Society is Porn there. I can't remember if I performed it before then, though. I haven't really been performing much as of late.
Can you, before you head out, can you give us the first verse to that song?
Oh, yeah, I got you. All right. All right, shit. All right. Society is porn. We all desensitized. It's got every single friend of mine. We got social media, trends, and negative energy to mentor minds. And I ain't innocent, it's enter minds at times. I've been the one enslaved. Mass shootings, it's just another day. Guns toting, pussy popping, I guess it's just the ways. I've been lost in this abyss, should have been loving you. So much fraud around, was blinded to see something true. Sunken places, I've been sunken too. Drunken fool, out about wild and childish, it was just something to do. Numbing too, last few years, learned some valuable lessons. Since my grandpa died, I've been blocking my blessings. Since my grandpa died, ain't been wanting to feel. Fuck cancer, feel like answers are lost in the field. Probably lost in that green. Probably lost in them. Oh. They say if everything was cured, it would cost them for real. And I don't really know what's really facts. It's hard distinguishing what's truth and what's an act. All I know is that I love you, that's a fact. You lift me up, way did the world be on my back. The world is like a jungle, I adapt. I swear this life is like a game of shooting craps. I need you, I'ma keep it 3 stacks. I'll be cool long as she living in my lap. She lives in my lap.
There you go, bro.
I don't know why I stumbled on that part right there, man.
It's all good. Bro, you are very talented.
I appreciate it.
Got mad bars. You guys heard it first. Again, let them know how they can contact you via Instagram. What's your gram?
Yeah, Instagram and Twitter at whotf is J.Hurt. WHOTFISJHURT. And then on all the streaming platforms, J.HURT, no spaces, J.HURT, J.Hurt.
Stream that, keep it on repeat, keep it on lock. Make sure you guys follow him. He's a very talented artist, and he does so much with his craft, and he's great at it, and he's been rocking with it for a while, and I hope to see this man blow up anytime now. Again, we got J.Hurt in the building. This is So Disconnected Podcast. I'm When Tony Writes. Peace.
Thanks for having me, man.
No problem, bro. Yo, it's When Tony Writes. You're listening to So Disconnected Podcast. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at So Disconnected. Tap the link in our bio to select the platform of your choice. We are also available on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, the Stitcher Radio app, TuneIn Radio app, and YouTube. Thank you for listening.